Look, I'm not saying I'm unqualified for this job. I'm saying I'm spectacularly, catastrophically unqualified for this job. But when the Galactic Council sends you a formal invitation that gets auto-translated as, "We humbly request your presence for cultural exchange and philosophical meditation on the nature of conflict," and your boss at the warehouse sees it and goes, "Holy shit, Axel, take the week off. This is incredible." You don't exactly have a lot of options. So here I am, sitting cross-legged on a floating cushion that keeps trying to adjust to my energy signature, or whatever, which apparently I don't have. So it just wobbles like a drunk yoga ball. The council meditation chamber is the kind of place that makes you want to whisper even though nobody told you to. Circular room, maybe 50 feet across, with these bioluminescent symbols slowly rotating across the floor, in patterns that probably mean something profound. The walls pulse with colors that I think are supposed to be calming, but mostly just make me feel like I'm inside a lava lamp. There are 3 other floating cushions arranged in a circle, but only 2 are occupied. Threadweave, the Veil Strider, who's apparently my meditation guide, sits across from me with the kind of posture that suggests she's done this 1,000 times and has never once encountered someone like me. She's made of fabric, not wearing fabric, made of it. Deep burgundy woven material that shifts and moves like it's breathing, with silver threads running through it that light up in patterns across her body. Her 2 eyes are pearl white, wide set, and currently locked onto me with an expression I can't quite read, but probably translates to, "Why did I take this assignment?" Long ribbons trail from the back of her head, hanging in the air behind her like really judgmental party streamers. "You understand the purpose of today's session, yes?" Her voice comes from somewhere in her chest, slightly staticky around the edges. The silver threads across her torso light up in a complex constellation pattern when she speaks. "Totally," I lie, shifting on my wobbling cushion. "Cultural exchange, philosophy, meditation stuff." To her left sits Resonance of Dawn, who I'm pretty sure is here to make sure I don't do anything stupid. He's a murmur, which apparently means he's a sound wave trapped in a fancy metal suit, because otherwise he'd just be noise floating around. The suit is this beautiful brass and copper construction that hums constantly at a frequency I can feel in my molars. His head is a smooth chrome helmet with a speaker grill where his mouth should be, and 6 circular audio sensors arranged around it that glow soft blue. 3 tuning fork antennae stick up from the top of his head, currently vibrating at what I assume is a relaxed frequency. An audio waveform scrolls across his faceplate, presumably showing his emotional state, though I have no idea how to read it. The meditation, Threadweave continues, her ribbons doing a little flutter thing, is specifically focused on the philosophy of warfare, how your species contemplates conflict, processes violence, achieves mental clarity regarding combat scenarios. "Oh, like strategy stuff?" I try to adjust my legs, realize they've fallen asleep, and nearly topple off the cushion entirely. I catch myself with both hands, and one of the crystal meditation orbs on a nearby pedestal wobbles dangerously. Resonance of Dawn's tuning forks ping slightly higher. The waveform on his faceplate develops a small spike. "Not strategy," Threadweave says, her fabric texture shifting subtly towards something that looks rougher. "Philosophy, the mental and emotional framework through which humans process the concept of war. Your species' recent application to join the Galactic Defense Coalition requires we understand how you think about conflict. Most species find warfare deeply traumatic. We must ensure humans can operate within a peaceful framework." Right. I nod like I understand, even though I'm mostly wondering if they're going to serve lunch after this. "So you want to know how we think about war?" "Precisely." Her silver threads dim slightly. "Please begin your meditation. Share with us your contemplations on warfare." Here's the thing. I thought this was going to be like a book club, where someone asks what you think about something, and you just kind of riff for a while, and everyone nods thoughtfully, and then you all eat cheese cubes. I'm a warehouse manager. The closest I get to warfare is when 2 different departments both claim they ordered the same pallet of printer paper, and I have to mediate. But sure, I can talk about war. "Okay, so, have you guys seen Predator?" The silver threads across Threadweave's body flash in a pattern that looks like a warning sign. Her ribbons go completely still. Resonance of Dawn's suit increases its vibration by several frequencies. One of his tuning forks hits a note that makes the meditation orbs hum. I am not familiar with this philosophical text, Threadweave says carefully, her voice getting that staticky quality again. Please, elaborate. Oh man, okay, so it's this movie, visual narrative about this team of soldiers in the jungle, right? And they're being hunted by this extraterrestrial, that's basically an invisible murder machine. It's incredible. I'm warming up now, using both hands to gesture. The cushion wobbles alarmingly. The whole thing is about how humans adapt when they're being hunted. Like the alien has all this superior technology, can turn invisible, has these shoulder cannons, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, that's the main human, he just covers himself in mud. Mud, Threadweave repeats. Her fabric has definitely shifted to a rougher texture. Mud! I'm getting excited now. Because it blocks the alien's thermal vision. So here's this. Technologically superior hunter, and the human just uses dirt. And then, this is the best part, he makes traps. Like primitive traps with logs and spikes and stuff. Takes out this advanced alien warrior with a tree on a rope. Resonance of Dawn's entire suit is vibrating hard enough that I can hear it now, a deep thrumming that's making the air shimmer. His tuning forks are ringing at 3 different pitches simultaneously. The waveform on his faceplate has gone completely erratic. This is... Threadweave's pearl-white eyes are unblinking, locked onto me. The silver patterns across her body are lighting up and going dark in rapid succession, like an emergency broadcast system. This is how humans contemplate warfare, through narratives of turning environmental materials into weapons? Well, yeah, that's just one example. I shift again, trying to get comfortable. My foot knocks into the cushion's edge and I flail slightly. There's also Die Hard, where this cop takes down a whole terrorist organization in a building using basically just duct tape and elevator shafts. Or Home Alone, where a kid defends his house from burglars using paint cans and blowtorches. A child, Threadweave says, her voice now almost entirely static, weaponizes common household items. It's a comedy, I add helpfully. The waveform on Resonance of Dawn's faceplate flatlines for a solid 3 seconds, then explodes into chaotic noise. His voice comes through the speaker grill, modulated into a perfect monotone that somehow conveys existential dread. You create entertainment media about juvenile members of your species, engineering improvised defensive systems against adult intruders. Well, when you say it like that, it sounds weird. Threadweave's ribbons have gone completely rigid, sticking straight out behind her head like she's in a wind tunnel. The silver threads across her body are now creating patterns that look less like constellations and more like warning labels. Her fabric has shifted to something that looks like burlap, rough and tense. Perhaps, she says, each word crackling with static, we should explore a different aspect of human warfare philosophy, something less creative. Tell us about formal military meditation practices, how human soldiers achieve mental peace before combat. Oh, you mean like war games? The meditation orb closest to Resonance of Dawn shatters, just explodes into powder. His tuning forks hit a frequency that I'm pretty sure only dogs can fully appreciate. And the bass vibration from his suit is now strong enough that the bioluminescent symbols on the floor are rippling. War. Games. Threadweave's voice is barely intelligible through the static. You have games about war. I mean, yeah, lots of them. I'm finally realizing that maybe this conversation isn't going the way it's supposed to, but I'm in too deep now. There's Paintball, where you hunt each other through fake buildings and shoot each other with paint. Laser tag, same thing, but with lasers, and it's usually indoors with black lights and fog machines. Airsoft, which is like paintball, but the bullets are plastic and hurt more. Capture the flag, which is more of a kid's thing, but still involves strategy and ambushes. Historical reenactments where people dress up in old military uniforms and recreate actual battles. Stop. Threadweave holds up one fabric hand. All the silver threads in her body have gone dark, except for a few that are strobing frantically near where her heart would be if she had one. Stop speaking. Resonance of Dawn is now vibrating so intensely that he's levitating slightly off his cushion. A second meditation orb cracks down the middle with a sound like a wine glass breaking. Are we not supposed to talk about this stuff? I look between them, finally picking up on the vibe. I thought you wanted to know how humans think about war. We wanted, Threadweave says, her fabric now, completely burlap textured and locked rigid, to understand your philosophical approach to the tragedy of warfare, your species' emotional framework for processing the horror of combat, your methods for achieving psychological peace after exposure to violence. Oh, I think about this. Yeah, no, we mostly just play more war games to relax. Resonance of Dawn makes a sound that I'm pretty sure isn't supposed to come from a speaker grill. It's like feedback and a tea kettle and a dying accordion all at once. The remaining meditation orbs start to crack. The human engages in simulated warfare, he says, his voice now breaking into static bursts, as a form of recreational activity for psychological restoration after actual warfare. I mean, I've never been in actual warfare, I point out. I manage a warehouse. But yeah, I play a lot of Call of Duty on weekends. It's fun. Good for team building. Threadweave stands up from her cushion. Her ribbons are completely rigid, her fabric locked into the roughest texture I've seen yet, and the few silver threads, still glowing, are creating patterns that look like warning signs in every language I don't speak. I need, she says, to consult with the council immediately. Resonance of Dawn, please ensure the human remains in this chamber. She walks toward the door with the kind of speed that suggests she's trying very hard not to run. The door slides open with a soft chime, and she nearly collides with a guard who jumps back in surprise. I'm left sitting on my wobbling cushion, looking at Resonance of Dawn, who's still vibrating hard enough that I'm worried about the structural integrity of the building. So, I say into the awkward silence, did I mention I'm also really into tactical strategy video games? There's this one called Civilization, where you guide a society from the Stone Age to the Space Age, and you can win through either military conquest or cultural victory. And I usually go for, please, stop talking. A third meditation orb explodes into dust. This is, I'm starting to realize, not going well. Threadweave returns 10 minutes later with an expression that, despite her not having human facial features, clearly reads as, I have made a terrible mistake. Her fabric is still locked in burlap mode, and her ribbons are doing this twitching thing like they're independently considering fleeing. The council, she says, static heavy in her voice, has requested that you provide a formal demonstration of these war games to the full assembly tomorrow. Oh, cool, I brighten up. Like a presentation? I can totally do that. I actually brought my laptop and I've got a whole folder of screenshots from... Tomorrow, she interrupts, in the War Strategy Amphitheater, before the entire Galactic Council, you will explain human warfare recreation practices. Awesome. This'll be fun. The patterns on her body all go dark at once, except for one silver thread that's pulsing, like a dying emergency light. Resonance of Dawn's tuning forks hit a frequency that shatters the last meditation orb and cracks one of the wall panels. Yeah, I'm definitely nailing this cultural exchange thing. The War Strategy Amphitheater is apparently where the Galactic Council discusses serious military threats. It's massive. Like if a football stadium and a planetarium had a baby, and that baby was really into dramatic lighting. Step seating rises up on all sides, easily holding a few thousand beings. And in the center is this enormous holographic projection system that's currently displaying my laptop screen at about 50 times its normal size. My PowerPoint presentation titled Human Team Building Activities, Fun Edition, is projected above me in letters 10 feet tall, complete with the clip art of a smiling cartoon soldier I found in the free templates. I thought it added a nice touch of professionalism. The amphitheater is packed. I'm talking every species in the council is here, which Threadweave informed me is unprecedented for a human cultural demonstration, in a tone that suggested this was not a good thing. There are species that look like ambulatory ferns, others that appear to be made of compressed gas held together by force fields, some that I'm pretty sure are just very organized swarms of insects in a vaguely humanoid shape. The lighting is dramatic and focused on me, like I'm about to perform a TED Talk. which honestly, I kind of am. Threadweave sits in the front row, her fabric locked in maximum burlap mode. Her ribbons haven't moved in 20 minutes. The silver threads across her body keep trying to light up in warning patterns, then giving up, then trying again. She looks like a marquee sign that's shorting out. Resonance of Dawn stands to the side in what I assume is a military observer position. His brass and copper suit is vibrating at a frequency that's making the holographic display shimmer. All three of his tuning forks are ringing at once, creating a chord that sounds like the universe's most anxious doorbell. The waveform on his faceplate looks like it's having a panic attack. So, I click to the first slide, which is a photo I pulled from the internet of people playing paintball. Let's start with one of the most popular war games. Paintball. The gaseous species in the third row makes a sound like a deflating balloon. Several of the fern people's leaves curl up. Paintball is great because anyone can play. You get a marker, that's what we call the gun, and it shoots gelatin capsules filled with paint at about 280 feet per second. The goal is to eliminate the other team by marking them with paint. I'm clicking through slides now, getting into my rhythm. Here's a picture of a typical paintball arena. Notice the inflatable bunkers, the various terrain features. Strategy is key. You've got to think about cover, angles of attack, coordinating with your team. Threadweave's pearl-white eyes haven't blinked once. I'm not sure she's breathing, if Veilstriders even breathe. The beauty of paintball, I continue, advancing to a slide showing someone with a massive welt on their arm, is that it actually hurts. See this bruise? That's from getting shot at close range. Really makes you think about tactics. Don't want to get hit, so you get better at not getting hit. I smile at the audience. It's educational. A species that looks like a standing puddle of mercury actually falls over, splashing across the floor before reforming in a lower seat, further from me. Now, some people think paintball is too tame. I continue, clicking to the next slide, a photo of an airsoft gun. That's where Airsoft comes in. Same concept, but instead of paint, you're shooting small plastic pellets. They hurt more than paintball, and there's no paint mark, so you're relying on an honor system. You call yourself out when you're hit. Resonance of Dawn's suit vibration has increased to the point where I can see the air distorting around him. His tuning forks are now ringing at a pitch that's causing visible interference with the holographic display. Of course, if you want something more accessible, there's always laser tag. New slide, a dark arena with people in glowing vests. This is usually indoors. You wear sensors and shoot infrared beams at each other. When you get hit, your vest vibrates and deactivates for a few seconds. Add some fog machines, black lights, and a good techno soundtrack, and you've got yourself a Friday night. I pause. Actually, there's a laser tag place about 20 minutes from my apartment that does unlimited games for $15 on Tuesdays. Really solid value. One of the insect swarm species has begun to literally disperse, individual bugs fleeing in different directions before the collective consciousness pulls them back together. But maybe you want something more traditional, I say, warming to my topic. I advance to a slide, showing people in Civil War uniforms firing muskets. Historical reenactments. This is where you dress up in period-accurate military uniforms and recreate actual battles from history. Some people are really serious about authenticity. They'll research the exact buttons used on uniforms from 1863. Make sure their canteens are historically accurate. Learn the actual tactical formations. I zoom in on one reenactor's face, frozen mid-yell as he charges across a field. Look at the commitment, the passion. Threadweave makes a sound like a dial-up modem dying. Her fabric has somehow gotten even rougher, achieving a texture that looks like it could sand wood. The few silver threads, still glowing, are spelling out what I'm pretty sure are distress signals. Now you might be thinking, Axel, what if I don't want to go outside? I click to the next section, titled Digital Warfare Recreation. Great news, we have thousands of video games about warfare. Thousands. I let that sink in. This is Call of Duty, one of the most popular. First-person shooter where you play as various soldiers throughout history and hypothetical futures. This particular screenshot is from a mission where you're breaching a building in an urban environment. The image shows a soldier kicking down a door, weapon raised. Very realistic graphics. Sometimes I play this to unwind after work. A crystalline species in the back row has begun to emit a high-pitched ringing sound. Cracks are forming along its surface. Then there's strategy games. New slide. A screenshot from Civilization. This is Civilization 6. You guide a society from 4000 BC to the near future. You can win through military conquest, scientific achievement, cultural dominance, or diplomatic victory. I usually build a massive army in the industrial era and just steamroll everyone. It's very satisfying. I click through several screenshots showing tanks, battleships, and nuclear explosions. Oh yeah, you can use nuclear weapons. Obviously, they have consequences, fallout, diplomatic penalties, that kind of thing. But sometimes it's worth it strategically. Resonance of Dawn is now levitating a full 6 inches off the ground, his suit vibrating so intensely that the floor panels around him are starting to crack. His tuning forks are producing a sound that's moved beyond hearing into something I can feel in my bones. The waveform on his faceplate has completely given up and is now just displaying what looks like a flatline with occasional spikes that spell out error. There's also StarCraft, where you command armies of different alien species, extraterrestrial species, in real-time combat. Age of Empires, where you build civilizations and armies through different historical periods. XCOM, where you defend Earth from alien invasion through tactical combat. I'm clicking through slides rapidly now, each one showing explosions, weapons, tactical maps. Oh, and Warhammer, which is technically tabletop gaming with miniatures, but you're basically recreating massive fantasy battles on a table with dice and rulers. People spend hundreds of hours painting tiny soldiers just to have them pretend to kill each other. The fern people have curled into tight balls. The gaseous species has expanded to fill 3 times its normal volume and appears to be trying to disperse into the ventilation system. The mercury puddle has split into 7 smaller puddles, each trying to flee in a different direction. But wait, I say, hitting the next slide, a photo of kids playing Capture the Flag. It starts young. This is Capture the Flag. Children play this. The goal is to sneak into enemy territory, steal their flag, and return it to your base without getting tagged. If you get tagged, you're captured and held in jail until a teammate rescues you. I smile at the audience. Teaches strategy, teamwork, and stealth. Usually played at summer camps. Threadweave is vibrating, not her, ribbons. Her entire body is shaking like she's trying to phase through the floor into a dimension where this presentation isn't happening. The silver threads across her fabric have gone completely dark except for one that's pulsing SOS in what I'm now certain is Morse code. And of course, there's good old-fashioned tag. Another slide, children running and laughing in a playground. One person is it and has to chase and touch someone else, who then becomes it. Basically teaching pursuit and evasion tactics to children as young as 3 or 4 years old. I pause thoughtfully. Actually, there's a variation called Manhunt that we played in middle school. It's like tag mixed with hide and seek, usually played at night. Very tactical. The crystalline species in the back shatters, just completely explodes into fragments with a sound like a chandelier hitting concrete. The pieces are still conscious. They're trying to crawl toward the exit independently. Now, some of these games can get pretty intense, I continue, oblivious to, or perhaps actively ignoring the mass panic. I once played in a 48-hour Airsoft milsim, that's military simulation, where we had 2 teams of about 100 people each recreating a Cold War border conflict. We had authentic gear, MRS, those are meals ready to eat, military field rations, and people taking shifts sleeping in foxholes. It was incredible. My team won by staging a night raid on the enemy command post. I clicked to a photo of myself in full tactical gear, face paint and all, grinning and giving a thumbs up. That's me. I was the designated marksman. Resonance of Dawn's tuning forks emit a sound that shatters every glass surface in the amphitheater. The holographic projectors spark and die. Emergency lighting kicks on, bathing everything in red. Oh, whoops, I say, looking at my now dead laptop. Technical difficulties. I can just describe the rest? No. Threadweave's voice is barely recognizable, so thick with static that it's almost pure noise. She stands up, her fabric locked in a texture that looks like it could be used as industrial-grade sandpaper. No more. No more descriptions. But I haven't even gotten to board games yet, I protest. There's Risk, where you try to conquer the world using plastic armies. Axis and Allies, which is World War II, but you can change the outcome. Diplomacy, which is basically 7 players trying to betray each other into submission. Stop! This time it's Resonance of Dawn, his voice coming through at a volume that probably violates several physics laws. Stop speaking. Stop thinking. Stop existing in this moment. The amphitheater has descended into chaos. Species are fleeing in every direction. The insect swarm has fully dispersed. The gaseous beings are escaping through air vents. Someone has triggered what I think is a fire alarm, adding a blaring siren to the cacophony. I stand there in the emergency lighting, surrounded by fleeing aliens and shattered glass, and I'm finally putting the pieces together. Oh, I say quietly, this wasn't supposed to be about how we play war games, was it? This was supposed to be about how we cope with the trauma of actual war. Threadweave turns to look at me, her pearl-white eyes reflecting the red emergency lights. Humans, she says, her voice a broken whisper of static, play warfare. For entertainment. Teach your children tactical combat through games. Recreate historical battles as hobbies. Simulate military command as relaxation. Create thousands of digital warfare experiences for leisure time. She takes a step toward me, her rigid ribbons finally moving, dropping limply behind her head. Your species doesn't cope with warfare. You celebrate it. I mean, we don't celebrate real war, I say weakly. We like the strategy, the competition. It's not about actually wanting to hurt people. The Krolix Dominion, Resonance of Dawn says, his voice finally, stabilizing into something resembling normal speech, was preparing to invade the Centauri colonies. They have been amassing fleets for 6 cycles. They are a warrior culture. Combat is their religion. He pauses. They were in attendance today. Row 17. I look up at row 17. There's a group of seats that are now empty, but I can see scorch marks on the floor, as if someone left in such a hurry they literally burned rubber, or whatever the alien equivalent is. They left, Resonance of Dawn continues, approximately 4 minutes into your presentation. According to our sensors, they immediately began recalling their fleets from the Centauri border. Wait, what? Threadweave laughs. It's not a happy sound. It's the laugh of someone whose entire worldview has just been shredded and is trying to find humor in the wreckage. They believed they were the most warfare-oriented species in the galaxy. They train from birth in combat. They view battle as the highest achievement. Her fabric shifts slightly, some of the tension easing. Then they learned that humans train for warfare as children, as play, that you create simulated combat for entertainment, that you find recreation in tactical violence. They think we're psychotic warmongers, I say, the realization dawning. Every species in this chamber now believes that, she confirms. The good news is that the Krolix have withdrawn from the Centauri border and issued a formal apology to the Council. They cited unwillingness to engage in military action near human-occupied space as their reasoning. I look around the amphitheater. It's mostly empty now, apart from Threadweave, Resonance of Dawn, and a few stragglers who appear to be too shocked to move. The emergency lights are still flashing. Broken glass crunches under my feet. So, I say slowly, I accidentally prevented a war by giving a presentation about laser tag. Effectively, Threadweave's ribbons do a little flutter, the first non-rigid movement I've seen from them in an hour. The Council has decided to approve humanity's application to the Galactic Defense Coalition immediately. Your species will serve as a psychological deterrent. We're going to scare people into not starting wars. Precisely. Resonance of Dawn's tuning forks finally stop their panic ringing. They emit a single clear tone that almost sounds like relief. For what it's worth, he says, his waveform display showing something that might be amusement. Your presentation was very thorough. I particularly enjoyed the section on nuclear weapons in civilization building games. Thanks, I say, feeling oddly proud despite having just traumatized an entire interstellar government. So, Does this mean I get to go home? Yes, Threadweave says. Please go home. And perhaps don't tell anyone else about this. Sure thing. I start gathering my laptop, then pause. Although, if you ever want to actually try paintball, I know a place that does group rates? No. Gotcha. Shutting up now. As I leave the amphitheater, stepping over shattered glass and trying not to think about the fact that I've apparently branded humanity as the galaxy's resident psychopaths, I can't help but feel like maybe I should update my resume. Under special skills, I'm definitely adding interstellar conflict prevention through inappropriate enthusiasm. My boss is going to love this.